Ninja! Ninja! Ninja!
It's 11:59 at Radio Free America, and this is Uncle Sam with music and the truth until dawn. Right now, I got a few words for some of our brothers and sisters in the occupied zone. The chair is against the wall. The chair is against the wall. John has a long mustache. John has a long mustache. It's 12 o'clock, Americans, another day closer to victory. And for all of you out there on or behind the lines, this is your song.
And welcome everybody to our daily gun show. Come to you live every weeknight at midnight Eastern or midnight 30, whatever time you feel like. And we talk about guns for an hour. So we're screen sharing here so we can bring that up. And we got Guns of Barbecue joining us tonight. Oh, there we go. I should probably not remove you from the stream when I'm introducing you. Thanks for joining. And he's on his phone, so I don't know if he's muting or not, but he's muted right now. He'll probably be unmuted here in a second. He'll say hello, but thanks for muting. And we got the link out there to a couple of people in an email, and then a link out there to Patreons as well. So if you want to join in, feel free. We also have people joining us in the outside there. So normally we would use guntube.org, the chamber over there, to go live. But tonight we're using the El Pato. So we've got Juice out there. You're saying there's an echo? That might be Guns of Barbecue unmuted there. Got Trucker out there. DTP, Ahmed, and Chris, and back in the stream. Okay, so now Guns of Barbecue is back. He's muted, so I don't think there's echo coming in from there. And then Tim, I don't know if I got everybody or not, so I kind of did a bad job of going through the list of who else has been out there waiting for us to get started. So I had to take the dog out and get some things squared away, and got started a little bit late here tonight. But anyway, so we're getting started. Today is Friday, so we'll be doing Free Patch Friday stuff. And you can see I was working on a project here. Talk about that, but then it's also giving some stuff away to Patreons. So we will be drawing for that as well. So I guess I should have brought that up, which will be over on Gunstreamer. So Gunstreamer is a video hosting platform. Is there still an echo? Gunstreamer is a video hosting platform for that's Second Amendment focused, and we posted a video over there, and it's got 193 views, which is pretty good for Gunstreamer. In fact, if you go to the main page of Gunstreamer and you go down to trending, we're on the trending list. That doesn't happen very often. So thanks for all the views on that. And then that was part of the reason. So instead of putting views on stupid YouTube nobody cares about, put them over on Gunstreamer. And then it makes the comments easy to find too. So we got 18 comments over there. That's really probably 9 people that claim stuff. So this is the screen that we're looking at. Yeah, is the stuff. So it's this Maxpedition bag that we've had for a while. Then it's this Bianchi fanny pack, got a Gemtech flag, and a Maxpedition wallet, and an old M16 pouch, some gloves, a couple of different slings, an M16 pouch from Galati, and some eyewear. And I think somebody claimed everything. So let's go find out. And I said to claim stuff over here, so it's all in one spot. And there's no first come, first serve, so we'll just do a random thing if there's 2 people claiming the same thing. So let's see. So we got Jason. I don't know how many people are out here. Angelina's out there tonight. And I don't think anybody else. Oh, Urswile's out there too. So I want to say a big thanks to Texas Trucker who bought a bunch of crap off of us at the store today. Thank you very much for that. Appreciate it. You'll get all kinds of extra stuff coming out and with that today. Look at that falling hammers jumping in. No, we are getting rid of that echo now. Go ahead and mute if you want.
No, I'm gonna enter a chat real quick. I'm gonna mute it. Hold on.
Okay, we're definitely hearing you back there. There we go. So welcome to the chat. Probably jumped in on the duck, didn't realize you're in here right away.
Hello.
Welcome. So you grabbed the link from Patreon.
Testing.
Yep, we can hear you.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I found the link on Patreon. I thought it was just to watch, and here I am.
Right on. Oh, I probably should put a link over there just to watch as well, but yeah, we'll join in there.
How's everything been?
Good. So we're in the show. We're live. So we're getting an echo. So if you would, feel free to chat in whenever you want, but when you're not, mute. Getting rid of echo.
10-4.
So you're in California?
Yeah, right now. Hopefully go back home in a couple weeks.
Right on. Thanks for jumping in. So we've also got Guns of Barbecue was in here a minute ago, and we'll see if he jumps back in or not. So we're just going through the list of claim stuff from the Patreon. I don't know if we're allowed to call it a giveaway. I basically had a bunch of stuff as I'm sorting through stuff to put on eBay, and decided instead of putting it on eBay, give option to Patreons if they wanted it. And that's what we did. So we got Jason grabbing the M16 pouch. I guess I could do something like a list. I guess I could just open up something like Notepad, which is basically a blank piece of nothing. And I could go Jason Stewart. Yeah, and then M16 pouch number 6. Actually, I could probably do it like this. Go up to the description where I'm pretty sure I have all of them listed. And there's barbecue back again. You know what? I'm also going to move all of this stuff over so that we can get those comments on the screen. And you can see we got Falling Hammer and Guns Barbecue in here. And again, thanks for muting, but feel free to jump in. It is a conversation. I'm not here giving a speech or whatever, so feel free to chime in. I appreciate you muting because there's some weird echo thing happening. Don't need this open at all, so I'm going to close this. Do I need to save it? Yes. And I changed my font somehow because I'm not paying attention. And now I got to wait for that to happen. So go back over here. Okay, so he's saying that he had echo from having 2 windows open. Slim's out there. He hasn't been around for a while. I'm hanging in there. Tim is saying he's hanging in there, spending a lot of time by himself. So, or normally does, I'm guessing. All right, come on. Let me close this thing already. All right, it's time. Let's close that. So instead, I'm going to paste that, and Jason was the equal sign, and then there. All right, now we can find that page again. Can I close this now? Yes, and then that's what I'm looking for, right? So I can probably cram that right in between the two. This monitor's got so much real estate. And so I'm going back down to the bottom of the comment. This is all the stuff in a professional show they would have done off air. So then we got Guardian, whoever this is, it doesn't ring a bell, is for the fanny pack. Oh, you guys are patrons. Did you guys chime in on any of these?
Yeah, I will put a comment in for the shooting glasses.
Okay. This is Mac's bag, so I'm guessing the bag and not the wallet. We got Tim is out there right now, I think. Went in for the Galati ones. I want to like the Galati ones. I really do, but they're Chinese, so I can't. And then we got Doc. What's this? Oh, that's you saying that. Doc was the rat wallet. And then we got Jim with the Magpul sling for some reason. I'm not a big fan of that Magpul sling. TP, is he out there? I think he's out there. Just grabbing this gloves. I got a whole bunch of other stuff to send out to Patreons too, so this is an excuse to just put more stuff into these particular people's envelopes, I guess. So Chris grabbed iPro. Uh-oh, that's not you, is it? Oh shit, he jumped out. It's gonna be a fight. And then we got Ghost Noise going for the Galati. So now we got a fight over on this one. Patriot going for number 2, waist pack. And then Huck. I don't know if this is Huck from Arizona/Michigan or if this is some other Huck. And that's also for the shooting glasses. Interesting. I'm pretty sure those shooting glasses are giveaways. I think I only have one. I have other types of shooting glasses, so I'll definitely throw some other types in there in the future. Oh, that's it. I don't need any of it. Okay, so then Chucker for the Maxpedition bag. I would have thought more people would go for that because I think that's probably the most expensive thing, right? I don't know if it's the most useful thing though. So Sandhills is going for the Magpul sling. And this is all the stuff that would have been done off air by some kind of producer, intern. So if anybody wants to be an intern, there's no pay at all. Lots of abuse. Lots of responsibility. And then Travis is the only one who put in for that hunting sling. So it looks like Travis is getting that hunting sling. I can copy everybody else's extra Travis. And then let's see if anything didn't get grabbed. So, yeah, I don't know what happened to, well, he was probably just watching or whatever. All right, so then I think that's everybody, right? So is that everything? So we got the Galati thing, we got a shootout for that one. We got a shootout for the Magpul sling. Travis just gets the hunting sling because he's the only one. DTP, you just get those gloves because you're the only one. Jason, you just grabbed that M16 pouch. You're the only one. I'm pretty sure I've been playing with that since I was a little kid, if that means anything. And then we got this eyewear. We got to fight for that one. Oh, I bet you 2A Huckleberry is dude. So then we got Tailgate Tigers getting that Gemtech flag, which is a legit Gemtech flag. Then we got shootout for the fanny pack and a 3-way shootout for the Maxpedition pack. All right, so if anybody has any ideas on that, how to do some shootouts tonight, feel free. Otherwise, let's just do boring old random generator. And Guns of Barbecue, you're in here. Did you want to throw in on anything?
The 2A Huckleberry that you were talking about for the glasses.
That's you?
What's that?
Is that you?
Yeah.
Oh, well, then who is on Hammer? I don't think Fallen Hammer is Chris. Is Chris Fallen Hammer? That doesn't make any sense. I don't think. So, unless he's saying he did want to put in which case I should put Falling Hammer in here for the glasses. So that's interesting. The two dudes that jumped into here are the two dudes that were looking for the glasses. All right, well, so then let's go over here and see what they're saying over here. I got a new logo. Yeah, that's all right. And Angelina's got all kinds of stuff. She's got the, why am I trying to blank? The Patch Club. Why am I trying to blank? Anyway, join the Patch Club, and then there's Patch of the Month over there. And then she's giving away avocados, I guess. I have one more avocado left. I got like a bag of like 8 avocados and was able to eat 7 of them so far. So that's a pretty big accomplishment. Because they normally all ripen at the exact same moment. I grew up with 2 sisters and 4 female cousins. Okay. I don't know, anybody else saying anything else on here? PVC badge. I haven't seen the metallic badge yet. It's a metallic color, I'm guessing. All right, well, so with that, if anybody's got any ideas on how to make these people fight for their free loot, then we'll pay attention to that. Otherwise, I'll ditch out of Gunstreamer. So thanks, Gunstreamer, for being a place for us to be able to do that. And I'll probably start doing that more often. Basically, it's going to cost $70. So I can do it as often as I can afford $70 to ship all that. So I'll put this over somewhere so I don't lose it. And then later on in the show, we'll let everybody fight over free stuff. It's going because my mouse is froze. Okay, here we go. It's Adobe software for publishing, and that's what I'm using for this project for the 2A activists. And you could look at these as pages in a book or cards or web pages. I don't know. They're different pieces, and I'm assembling who they are, little cartoon, what state they're from, organizations they're affiliated with, what they did, why they're in this list. That's the little blue thingies. And then the idea is to have some associations, so some links back and forth. And for me, at least, the idea of having stuff like this when you're memorizing things or when you're trying to learn stuff, having flashcards gives you a different way to conceptualize it, give perspective. So having those associations is going to hopefully allow people to shuffle the deck in different ways, maybe affiliated with certain organizations or a community or a locality or a era or a Second Amendment battle or something like that. And it's challenging to come up with all of them, and to then there's some people that have, you can kind of tell from this thumbnail view, some people have full cards and other people have empty cards. And I don't know if the empty cards are because people haven't done anything as much as I just don't know much about them. And then the other frustrating part is I don't know everybody's date of birth, basically. So I'm going to have to at some point start asking rude questions to a bunch of Second Amendment advocates that don't give out their date of birth because I can't sort them really. So there's a bunch of mess at the end here as far as chronologically. But this is part of the projects that the Patreons are allowing me to put effort into. And I'm efforting occasionally to create something out of that. So I posted a couple of videos lately, and I can't remember which ones are live by now. But I think in the one I updated today about the Shooter's Almanac, I kind of showed one of the other book projects we're working on. But anyway, I had this one open, and I just printed out the 130 or whatever cards there are here, and then printed them with my fancy color printer onto cardstock. It's 120 something weight paper, which isn't quite a playing card or anything, but it fits through my printers. And then cut them all out. So that's what I've been doing today, is actually making the deck. So it's about 3 decks of cards, and it's an itch I've been trying to scratch. So it's done. I can pass it on, and now I don't have to worry about it. I can just throw all the stuff away, I guess. So anyway, thanks to the Patreons for allowing me to work on that. Now I can apply this into other realms in the future. But for now, I'm going to save that file and close it. So I'm sick of working on it today. I don't know if Guns and Barbecue wants to bring anything up. Otherwise, I guess we'll just see. Nobody's really saying anything in the chat, and I'm not here to blab for no reason. So I'm done saying stuff. Today it was really nothing in the calendar. It was supposed to be the first day of the NRA convention. Of course, our rights to assemble have been infringed on, so nobody's assembling. All right, well, that's so I am going to head over to random, and I guess we'll give away some stuff in a boring way, like robot way.
So, G, have you ever tried a concealed carry vest?
No. I don't
Say I just bought a couple of them to try them out, see what they're like. It's different for sure. The one I just got, I don't care for how it secures the gun so much. Another one that came in the mail today, I haven't gotten to wear it out at all, but with the way that one secures the gun, I really like. But with one I've been wearing, it kind of surprised me. A lot of places to put magazines. There's Molly in a couple of the pockets, so you could carry, I think 6 magazines in the pockets, and there's actually space for, I think, 4 magazines inside the vest itself.
I've had vests for like fishing or photography or stuff, like where they have a bunch of pockets on the outside.
Yep.
But that's about the closest I've got, and those don't, they look like some kind of photographer vest or something, like you should be fishing. Maybe
Yeah, that's one of the reasons I liked it, is people see it and they think it's a fishing vest.
I don't really wear a vest though. So back when I don't know, where I lived where there was weather, maybe when I would fish stuff, I would. I liked wearing them. I mean, I do own 2 vests. For bird hunting, vests are nice, and for fishing, vests are nice. I guess you could use them if you're doing other things too, but I just don't have that much stuff, I guess, normally.
Yeah. Let's say with my vision being what it is, I haven't felt comfortable carrying at the 3 o'clock position since I've lost majority of my vision. So I've been trying to experiment with different carry methods. I tried the fanny pack thing, but not a big fan of off body. I tried shoulder rig, but those lead to massive headaches, it seems, with all that tension going across your shoulders. Then I was just messing around and found this vest thing and figured for $50, if I like it, cool. If not, can hang in the closet and use it as a fishing vest or something. But it's not bad. It doesn't have the discomfort like a shoulder rig does. It seems to just disperse the weight a little bit better across your shoulders.
Right, you're still going to have the weight, so it's like a heavy cloak. It's like wearing a big heavy
Yeah.
cloak more than a shoulder rig, but I don't know. So how long have you had it, you said?
Been wearing it for about a week now.
So to me, it would be the idea of like having something in your pocket that's floppy and having something like in a holster that's between you and a belt, you know? So that's where
Yeah.
I would think it'd be annoying or not. Because I don't know what you're carrying, but something like a Glock 17, big old 9, and it's got like 15 rounds of ammo, so it's heavy and big. You know, that thing in your coat flopping back and forth would be annoying as heck. Having it in a shoulder rig so that it's like, you know, it's closer to you, it's between you and the clothing. At least that's better, but still flopping all over the place.
Well,
Yeah.
this doesn't flop that much. It's got some cinches on each side that you can pull tight, so you can have it kind of hug you and be nice and firm. I'm actually carrying my Ruger 1911 in it.
1911, holy crap. So again, you know, you haven't done any ninja rolls or like cartwheels or anything yet.
No. Let's say,
Let's see, you're bending over to pick up a little baby that's on the railroad tracks, it's about to get run over by a train or something, you know, and then all of a sudden your vest, you know, slaps down to your wrist because you're reaching down, and you know how the subways are. You're gonna
Yep.
reach down to pick up that baby, and now your vest, you know, 7 pounds and 9 or 45, that baby's not gonna live through that. You know, and now that 1911 goes flying down. So you know you're at the store and you go to pick up some corn or something, and then bam, your 1911 comes flying down. So that part is, I guess, you know what I'm talking about. It's not like necessarily, you know, you're going to jump out of a taxi and engage, you know, karate chops or something. But when you're not thinking about it, having it off of you is different than having it. Like I said, I think the best thing is to have it between you and a belt, so that
Yep.
nothing can happen to it ever. You know where it is all the time. But that's easier said than done. And if you're not going around doing stuff, then yeah, just sitting around your house, I could totally see having it in a vest where, yeah, where it's not touching you all the dang time, especially in Arizona where it's super hot or someplace where it gets hot. You don't want the thing touching you, jamming into you constantly. So it's going to have all those extra pockets. Would it be an issue where all of a sudden you start carrying around this and that and the other thing because you got the pockets now? And now the vest does weigh 9 pounds because, not the gun, but because of all the pocket knives and lighters and, well, this fits in here.
Let's say basically everything that I'd say I everyday carry, which isn't a whole lot. Just a couple keys that go to my house, vehicle, stuff like that. My wallet, my phone, pocket knife. I'm pretty minimalist in that sense, I suppose. But yeah, I stuck it all in the vest. And again, it wasn't too bad. When I first put it on, you notice it. But it's kind of like, you ever swing a baseball bat with a bat weight on it?
Yeah, where the center of gravity's way out on the end of the fulcrum instead of where you can control.
Yeah. Well, when you first start doing it, you're like, oh, wow, you really feel that. But once you're warming up with it, it gets easier, even though the weight's the same. And that's what I found with this.
Back in school, when I would have to play sports, they'd make me keep that thing on there so that it would handicap me so that the other kids could have a chance. So I wouldn't always knock it over.
But yeah, I say it wasn't too bad as far as the weight went. I did notice it helped more having weight in the upper pockets, such as my wallet and phone. My keys are very minimal weight, so I put those in the lower pockets. Like I said, the one that I'm wearing around right now, I'm not a big fan of how it secures the gun. It kind of just sits in the pocket. And like you said, you bend over for something. Now with where it's located, I think it's low enough where unless I, like you said, did a cartwheel or something, I shouldn't have to worry about it falling out. But it's still just that thought of what if Then the one that I just got in the mail today to try, it actually has more of a like a neoprene holster area that has a Velcro nylon strap that comes over the firearm. And I put my 1911 in that, and I wanted to see just how secure that Velcro was. And I was shaking it as hard as I could, and the gun wasn't going anywhere.
Yeah, but so you're talking a holster in like a pocket or inside where a pocket would be of a vest?
This one, it literally you would just open up your vest, and there would be your gun and a slot for 2 magazines.
On like both sides or on one side? Like you buy it right or
Both
left?
sides. That way, if you're left-handed, you can cross draw from your right or vice versa.
Yeah, so that gets into a whole bunch of things. So securing it in your vest is one thing, and then having a practical thing you can draw from is totally something else. So having an anchored or a holster that's on a foundation means you can push into it, you can grab it. When you're just standing there minding your business and you're playing with your holster, who cares? That's like going to a place, at the dealership and just sitting in the car and getting back out of it. That doesn't matter at all. What matters is when it's raining and you're on a hairpin turn going down a hill, when it matters and there's a turn that you're going to die if you don't make the turn, you want to know that you can, from that driver's seat, see out of the windshield and have headlights that work, and that you want to make sure that car works in an extreme situation. So knowing that it can secure a handgun is one thing, but again, having something that's not tethered to you except for by either buttons or maybe an elastic strap or something. So now you're going to fumble around for the gun as opposed to just going down into your belt. I mean, going towards yourself into your belt is a great anchor. You're going to yourself. I mean, that's reflex motion and stuff. You're reaching your arms in an attack anyway. Now in an attack, you're reaching your arms in. Your tendency is to go midline. So you're in a fetal position with your hands tucked to your midline. Where's that gun? It's flopping around somewhere. Now you got to go find it. Now when you finally find it and everything's hopefully in a perfect condition, you find it. Now you got to go figure out how to get that Velcro off of there. So being able to do it when you're just minding your business at the store or whatever is insignificant. Like being able to do it upside down or laying around, in that fetal position, on your back, in a car, on a couch, running through a door, all that stuff. So, and that's when you need to have a gun out and using it. So it's okay. That's why I can't get sponsored because I won't sell crap. So I'm not trying to shit on your.
No,
thing.
you're fine. I just wasn't sure if you ever gave it a try or not.
No, that's why. That's those reasons why though, is because I'm not going to get myself used to something just because I can. Now, if I'm out fishing or something, and again, I got a vest as opposed to a shoulder rig or something, I might consider it. But the fanny pack, I like a lot better. I mean, they look stupid, and I don't like wearing them because they look stupid. But a fanny pack with just a gun in it and maybe extra ammo and a tourniquet, because it provides for an extra ammo and a tourniquet pretty easy, is pretty damn good. And there's decent ones, like there's really good ones. And unfortunately, they look really dumb usually, but the good ones that look dumb are good and they're anchored to you. Like they're a belt on you. So even if you're wearing sweatpants or like whatever weird thing you're wearing that doesn't have belt loops, then you got something on that already has a foundation and it's on you. It might flop all around, but no matter what you're doing, most of the time you got that thing over your business, over your junk, right in front of your pelvis right there where you normally, what do you call it? Is that other kind of fancy thing they use now? Appendix carry, right? So you got it in the same place. And that's awesome. If you're getting the shit kicked out of you and you need to use a gun, you're probably in a fetal position getting the shit kicked out of you. So it's in a perfect place for that. Something weird happens, you need to shift that thing around. I like fanny packs for a lot of reasons. But for just walking around and doing stuff like hunting and fishing and camping, I got this thing that they call I think they call it a guide holster or something. And it's basically like a holster you'd wear in World War II in an airplane. the pilot's holsters from World War II,
Oh yeah.
where it's not really a shoulder holster, it's kind of outside. So it's perfect for like a canoe. It's perfect for a horse. It's perfect for an airplane where you're, flying an airplane or sitting, getting in and out of an airplane, getting on and off a snowmobile or anything like that. Because it's just kind of strapped to your ribs and it's on the outside of your clothes, so it's not concealed at all. But for something like that, I'd wear a vest on top of that, and then my gun is right there. So that's just me. If I'm talking guns, the gun needs to be used in the worst case scenario, and it might not be another human. But if you're getting mauled by a bear or something, I'm not gonna want to find my gun and then try to draw it. I don't want, my gun where it is a what's the word? Is a given. That's a non-variable.
Yeah. Well, and that's one of the things, though. Like I have what doctors call finger vision at about approximately a foot or so in front of my face. So if you held up, whatever amount of fingers you decided to, you'd have to hold them about a foot in front of my face or so before I could tell you how many fingers you had up. So with that, I don't feel I have the situational awareness to see if somebody's been eyeballing me because my shirt came up and the gun that's on my belt is visible now. Now, if I was out in the woods, that wouldn't bother me because I don't have to worry about a bear eyeballing my gun. I might have to worry about a bear, like you said, mauling me, and in that case, I have no problem carrying on my belt still.
Oh, I'm muted. So basically, you're saying that the vest idea is so that you don't have to worry about it being on your belt and then you reach for something at the store and all of a sudden your gun's exposed and you don't realize it.
It's not so much that I'm worried about exposing it. It's just if I were to expose it to the wrong person.
I got you. And again, my whatever ultimate concern is pretty minimal on the list of probability or whatever.
Yeah.
It's probable at all, right? I'm not suggesting it's.
To say honestly, before I'd always open carry. I used to work corrections and armed security, and one of the first things any training I went into, they would teach us is visual deterrent. And I was thinking, open carry. If somebody's in, the Dollar General that I'm in or something, and they want to rob it, if they see me walk in with a gun on my hip, hopefully they're going to say, well, I'm going to wait until that guy leaves.
Well, that's interesting. So you went, and what years was that training? That concept.
What's that?
Like what year was that concept given to you or suggested to you?
The visual deterrent. Oh, when I started working security in 2009, started doing corrections in 2010, and then
fairly recently, last 10 years.
Yeah, last 10 years.
Interesting, because I guess I'd have to think about it, but I haven't heard that concept deliberately suggested in a while. But it's definitely, I think it's worthy of suggestion. You don't hear it very often either. When mostly people are ragging on open carry. There's very few people that get out there and really rally for it. So I guess I don't know every position they've got, but I haven't heard that one. It's a pretty good one.
Yeah, I always tell people that I talk to, carry how you're comfortable. Because I'd have a lot of people that would ask me about open carry and why I do it. And the thing I'd always hear is, oh, you make yourself a target. How often do you actually hear about anybody who is open carrying, being offed by a criminal because they made themselves a target by having that gun on their hip exposed? I can't think of any examples where that happens. And I was actually talking to my buddy who's a police officer, and I made the point to him that, criminals, they want easy targets. They're not going into anything saying, well, I want to get into a gunfight today.
Well, that's true, but it depends on what angle you're looking at it. So if you're right, it's like a what do you call it, like a one-on-one altercation at the moment, yes. But I guess the concern would be you open carry or whatever, and I don't know, the visiting cousin of the neighbor kids see that you're open carrying and that you got some work schedule and you're away from your place, or you leave your car open at night, or I don't know, whatever, and then that leads somebody to consider something. So that's a heck of a lot of ifs and what ifs and maybes, but
Yeah,
I'm
I
just
say
trying
that's
to
definitely one I never considered either. I say, yeah, that's one I never considered. Is like you just mentioned, somebody sees it when you're, perhaps close to your home or something, and when you're gone.
And then there's targets out, like emotional, like things that happen in the heat of the moment or whatever you want to call, like, you come across things that are violent. That's very rare, but the institution, what's the word? Like somebody who doesn't get caught being a criminal, somebody who's a criminal doesn't go and get into fights. They don't get into gunfights. They sneak into windows, or they wait for somebody to be asleep or at work and do whatever criminal thing they do so they can keep doing their criminal thing.
Yep.
And those are tougher to attribute to anything because they don't leave a thing like thanks for wearing your gun around, or thanks for leaving the box out front that said you got a TV 2 weeks ago and then I broke into your house 2 weeks later or whatever. Anyway, so without getting too onto that, that's interesting. We haven't talked about vests in a long time. Dano used to want to wear a vest all the time, and then I imagine Bob would wear a vest. I don't think anybody else would have been vesting it too much. I one time thought about getting a like an insulated vest where it's like a coat without arms.
Yep.
But
like one of the Carhartt ones.
No, more like for like skiing or something.
Oh, okay.
Literally for warmth or whatever. But like I'll think like, oh, that's a great idea. And as I say, like the window for that, the need for something like that is about a day or three, like maybe a week if you're on an off year here. We just don't need that kind of clothing. It went from I needed a coat to I don't want to be anywhere near a coat. Like it's hot here now. Like I don't need coats around me. And that vest is just like an intermediate thing that we just don't have fall here. We don't have like a long, cool spring or whatever that would be that you need a vest.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, if you don't want to wear a coat and you want the extra bulk or whatever, the thickness of the material of a vest compared to like a shirt or something, a vest is possible. You could wear a vest out here. People might look at you a little funny when it's super hot, but people wear vests for other things. There's all kinds of things that people might want to hide that they wear a vest for.
Yeah, here it's not so abnormal. I live about 30 minutes south of Lake Erie in Pennsylvania, so I mean, shoot, we got I think about 4 or 5 inches of snow at my house today.
Yeah, where was it? Somebody else was showing us snow too, but yeah, well, even in the spring or whatever. Now, on the other hand, if you did something like a lake, or if you were somewhere there's a lot of bird watching, then it might not even be a thing either, right? Or if just in general, 4 out of 10 people are wearing a vest.
Yeah, not too many people, it seems, wear vests. I don't know if it's just not fashionable or what the deal is.
I don't know. I think vests were better when there was, you had thick materials and then you had thin materials. And a vest was a good option when you didn't need like the whole thing. But now that there's like super efficient, like windbreakers and stuff, you need a vest for it. You can put on a less bulky jacket, you know what I mean? And roll up your sleeves once in a while. Like that's what I end up doing is I'll just, the windbreakers are good enough. But vests usually have a lot of pockets, and that's where you're not going to find too many jackets unless it's like a Swiss military jacket. You're not going to find too many jackets with as many pockets as most vests will have.
Yep. Is say I'm built like a polar bear. Is say normally the last couple of years before I lost my vision, I drove truck, and I was in Minnesota the one time, and I jumped out of the truck just wearing a pair of sweatpants and a cut-off shirt. And the forklift driver that's getting ready to unload me, he's like, "What's the matter with you?" What are you talking about? He's like, "It's 10 degrees out." I'm like, "Oh, I'm going to be moving around. I'm going to be warm. I don't need no jacket." He's like, "You're crazy." I was like, "Well, just let me do my thing. You do yours, and then you sign my bills, and we'll get out of here."
That makes a good point too. That's when you're jumping in and out of climate, then that's where vests are super good. Or maybe if you're in a normal climate, but you're jumping in and out of a freezer, like that's where a vest can be super handy because it keeps your core temperature up and everything else isn't in the element long enough to worry about
it. Yep.
It's been a while since I had to worry about that. I'll look there cold wise. All right, well, that's a whole bunch of vest talking.
Oh,
so
sure.
then, but that was interesting. So they're saying out there, DTP is saying that insulated vests are nice for doing things when you want a better range of motion. And Trucker's saying his company gave him Carhartt vests. It took some getting used to. So I'm guessing that means like that canvas duck material. And then HVS is saying he wears a vest for making coffee. So more probably like a stylish evening vest or breakfast vest. Red velvet thing. Like a Land Baron would have in an old Western show. All right, well, nobody has really been saying much out here as far as coming up with ways for people to compete for these things. So we're just going to go do the boring old random. So looks like Google's got their own little random thing going. I don't like using Google, so I'm going to go to random.org where Americans do their randoming. And we'll go with this Galati one. So both Tim, I don't know if he's still out there. Was he out here already? Yeah. And Ghost Noise, which I don't know who that is both fighting over this Galati International mag pouch. So if you want to think of one of them as a giant robot and the other one as a giant monster coming out of that time rift in the bottom of the ocean, and that's how you can think of it. But we're going to go, we'll go 1 to 100. Even numbers go to Tim and odd numbers go to Ghost. How about that? Boom. That's a 45 is an odd number, so Ghost gets it. I'll put parentheses around them, and that way I'll remember which one gets it. Oh, sorry, Tim, but Ghost is getting that Galati thing. So that's a pretty decent little mag pouch. It holds 3 mags in each one, so it would hold 6, I guess, altogether. And I really like the Velcro shit on the back because the way they've got the Molly made out of Velcro. Like I said, I have it in the cop car. It was made in USA. And it's like 500 denier nylon, but Chinese, so it's soft like it's probably 500, but it's soft like 200. Does that make sense? Because their thick nylon is soft. So I don't know how long it'll last because usually that thick nylon also falls apart at the threads, but I'm sure it'll last for a while. And that's going out to Ghost Noise, who I'm guessing I have an address on Patreon. So just in case you are listening and you win or you don't win, and you're a Patreon person, thanks for your support, but then be sure to put an address over there. I don't harvest them or anything. It's just that when I do want to send something randomly, if I pick you and I don't have your address, then I got to bug you for your address. So if you put it in there, then I can just send it to you. All right, so next it'll be the Magpul Sling, which I'm not a big fan of, and that's going to go out to the Jim or Sandhills. I don't think Sandhills is out here. Was Jim out here? Jim and Tim, I'm probably thinking Tim. So we'll do another random. This time we'll go with Sandhills can be even and Jim can be odd. Ooh, odd. So that one's going to Jim. We put some music on in the background, but I was listening to it the other day and it sounded bad. So Travis is winning the or grabbing, not really winning. You're just getting the sling. I don't know if Travis is listening. He had the link, so he's probably not listening. He's probably asleep. It's a new sling, but it's been sitting so long that the elastic is given. So probably have to tighten it up or do some facelift into it. I'm thinking you could put a couple of stitches in there, and that would tighten up the elastic. Right, DTP is getting the gloves. He's out here, I think. If he's still out here. So I'll send those out. Same thing, Jason, with the pouch. Doc is getting that Expedition wallet. We've had that wallet for a long time, and that thing went back and forth between a few of us. All of us thought we were going to be able to use it because it's such a cool little wallet, and then none of us was able to use it. It's just so bulky, like it just doesn't work for anything. All right, so next we got the eyewear between your 2A Huckleberry.
Yep.
Okay, and then Chris is out there. So this one isn't going to be a robot war. This can be like a panda and a baby koala bear, like a baby panda and a baby koala bear fighting over, I don't know, something. So we got Chris. Well, you're in here, so why don't you pick? Do you want evens or odds? Guns and barbecue. Do you want evens or odds?
Odds.
No, I'm gonna go 1 to 100, and you got odds. Ooh, went to 46 though, so Chris is getting it. He stole it from you. I don't know if you're the polar bear or if you're the koala bear, but whatever happened, you rolled over, and he grabbed it, and everyone went, "Oh!" So then he's got them eyewears. I don't know if I've got another one. You can have them. If somebody's watching this and you've got them, feel free to send them to you. But I can't guarantee those might have been around for a while. Chris bought stuff, so I can send it with the stuff I'm sending him, so that works. Tailgate Tiger is getting the flag because you're the one that asked for the flag. Then we get to the fanny pack. So that's going between Guardian and Patriot. I don't think Patriot's out there tonight, or else he would have been saying stuff. So, yeah, you got even. So you win. So then we'll go again. I'm going to go 1 to 99 just to screw with it. Okay, I'm going to go 1 to 99. There we go. And let's go with Patriot is going to be odds and Guardian is evens. Boom, 47. So let's go into Patriot. In the fanny pack. And he'll let us know if he likes that. That one is not really what you're talking about because that's the other thing when you're talking about that vest having the, I'm guessing they're kind of triangle shaped neoprene or whatever mouse pad material, like wetsuit material holsters sewn into it. They kind of are elastic-ish, like the whole material is elastic.
Yeah.
So the problem is that that's not lightweight. Like it weighs something, and like if it's bulky enough to be useful, like it can be really thin and be not very elastic. But if it's bulky enough to be useful, then it's just heavy. Like I guess it's not worthless because it's adding some counterweight, some bulk, and some weight to the other side of your vest all the time. So no matter what side you got a gun on, you automatically have some weight on the other side, but you automatically have some weight on the other side. You know what I mean?
Let's say it doesn't seem to add a whole lot of weight. I mean, you'd be talking only a few ounces at most, I'd imagine.
Crippling or anything. It is there, and it's like
Yeah.
something in your pocket that you're just carrying something you don't need to be carrying.
Let's say honestly, like you had mentioned, how good is it? And that's what I'm kind of interested in. Going through your day, walking around, having that gun jostle around. Granted, there's not too many sharp edges to worry about, so I'm still wondering how it's going to wear, though, with a heavy gun like a 1911 having friction, against the material.
Well, the good news is you can save a lot of weight by just loading it with one round, because that's all you're going to need, and then that way you have extra weight. That's one of the benefits of carrying of carrying any 45 ACP.
Oh, I'm a cheater. I got the 10 millimeter.
Oh, all right. Well, same thing. That still applies. You only need one. Oh, shit. So that happened live. Appreciate that. Somebody bought something over at the store. So, yeah, you too can make a little noise happen live with money. All you gotta do is throw money at me, and then a lot of noise will happen. Pretty amazing and a lot of fun. If you bring a bunch of kids around, they can have fun putting money at the store also. Make little noises happen. I'm trying to figure out what the order is. Boom, Chris buying more stuff. So thanks, Chris.
So here's something that you might get a kick out of. My daughter, who turns 7 on Sunday, came to me tonight, and she asked me to build her a house. I'm like a doll house or a house, for you to play in. She's like, well, I want to be able to use it as a gun shop. I'm like, there's a lot of stuff that we're gonna have to jump through to, start our own gun shop, and Daddy's not financially set to do that. She like to plan. I was like, all right, cool. I was like, well, that's gonna be a big investment just in toy guns. She's like, okay, can we make them BB guns? I was like, yeah, I'd rather not make them BB guns just in case one of the neighbor kids come over. And I was like, we'll just go and get some wooden toy guns or something, and I'll figure that out for you. But so apparently she wants to start her own gun shop in the backyard.
All right, hold on. So it was breaking up a little bit. So I don't know if it's because of your phone or if it's the connection, but we pretty much got it. But just because I want to make sure we're hearing this correctly. How old is this kid?
7. I'll turn 7 Sunday.
7-year-old little kid comes up to you and says,
Little girl.
I want to make a house. And then you go, what kind of house? And she says, I want to make a house so they can make a gun shop in the backyard out of. And then what? She wants to sell guns to the neighbor kids?
I don't know if it's the neighbor kids or she just wants to play gun shop, I guess, by the sounds of it.
Well, that's valid also. That's pretty awesome.
But I thought it was pretty cool. I was like, all right, you're chip off the old block.
Yeah, I think she can get a lot of support. Get our online website and then do business out of there. But yeah, so anyway, when I was a youngin', there was no other things, I guess. And I don't know, for whatever reason, my dad didn't buy. I guess I also had toy guns. I had a lot of toy guns, but you would take stocks that were broken or didn't use. I don't know what the criteria was, but I had a lot of guns that were made out of stocks. You would basically take like a piece of broomstick or dowel or piece of pipe, conduit or something, depending on the gun, and then screw it or glue it or somehow attach it to the stock and put sometimes a piece of wood in there for a mag, depending on how much time or effort he put into it and what I was doing with it. We would build them together often, now that I'm thinking about it. So maybe what I would ask for, we'd go out there in the garage and kind of build one, and then I'd have a new one to run around with. So if I needed something to be like long range or short, I had like a M1 carbine, like forever. That was my go-to. Like it had a clothespin for the charging handle, and then just a piece of wood for the barrel. So it was a little bit fragile, but it was an M1 carbine. So it had a sling on it and everything. And I ran around with that thing, I don't know, forever. Still have it.
Awesome.
So then whenever that wasn't useful, like whenever we'd be playing guns or whatever, because you could play with guns, you could play army, you could play cops, you could play hunting, you could play a million different things with guns. So if we were playing something I needed a longer gun, I'd be like, okay, I need a longer gun. We'd go find some longer stock and start making it into something. So anyway, that might be an inexpensive way, especially with like either like a generic 1022 stock. Like almost everybody buys the Ruger 1022 and like immediately takes the stock off and throws it in a pile. SKS stocks, you name it, Remington 700, like pretty much all the guns that get modified, their stocks are going to be dime for a dozen, right? And
Yeah,
that might be something that you can do cheap.
that's what I was starting to think about when you mentioned that was 1022 stocks.
I bought a whole bunch of just 22s that were probably like, imagine like a scout camp that got rained on or something, like the shed got rained on and rusted a bunch of them. So I got a bunch. There was this guy that had just like a bin or like a 55-gallon drum type of thing of actions, basically barreled actions. And they were just 1022, semi-auto 1020, got the hiccups, 1022, semi-auto 1022 barreled actions. And I think I paid $5 for them. And then,
Oh wow!
did he have stocks? He might have had stocks, but I've seen that kind of deal more. I've seen the deal more often than I take people up on it. I quit buying them from people because I don't do nothing with them. I kind of did what we used to do is I'd make them into fake guns. But my problem is when I make that into a fake gun, it is a gun. So it's not really a fake gun anymore because it's just a gun that don't work. And if something happened, ATF will take a gun and clean it and make it work and then go, you have a working gun. They don't just look at it in the condition it's in. So that wouldn't be appropriate to give to a kid, but a broken one, like just some pieces, not a barreled action anymore, but like a barrel with some parts that a kid can run around with. That might be another option, is I guess what I was getting at. Some actual pieces of broken gun. Broken flintlocks or something, broken guns that ain't guns.
Yeah,
But probably like you're saying, 1022 stocks, super cheap, they're kid size. Maybe crickets. I don't know how many people mod their crickets. Not enough. But that would be a little kid size thing.
mm-hmm.
So what, does she have a name for her shop yet?
Not yet. Let's say literally, it was about a half hour before bed. It was when she sprung this on me. So now I'm sitting here debating on, am I just going to go to Home Depot, get a bunch of lumber, or go out to the old shed and get that cleaned out? But every year I'm chasing bees out of the old sheds. So I'm not sure which route I want to go there, but I'm going to pick her brain on it tomorrow, see if she's got any more ideas.
Right on. Yeah, whenever she comes up with a name and a logo, I bet we'll just sign Angelina up. So Angelina will do stickers for her or something.
What's up?
We'll just
You got
go
real
ahead
quiet.
and volunteer. I said we'll just volunteer Alan Anchor to make stickers.
Oh, all right.
We have that authority, but we'll just go ahead and claim that authority.
She think that's the greatest thing ever.
Well, I've been sitting here muted the whole time. I don't know how much of that I've been saying. I guess I was sitting here thinking about how we were playing guns when I was a kid. And I was pondering how we never really had a gun shop, I don't think. But we would often like pile the guns. We had this one door to the basement that had like, how sometimes you have to go down the stairs into a door? It was like that. It wasn't under the ground or anything, but half of it was underground, if that makes sense. So it was basically a bunker. So we would put a lot of times a bunch of the guns over there that we weren't using or that were different or something. And depending on how we were playing or what we were playing, sometimes the gun would get out of ammo or you'd have to lose it or somebody would take it from you or it would get blown up in a hand grenade or something. And then you'd have to like do something or somehow be able to go get more guns, right? Like something would have to, depending on how we were playing. And that's what I started to think about is I don't even remember where we came up with our rules on how we were going to play guns back in the day, but it definitely didn't come from video games because those didn't exist yet. So I don't know if we got our rules from watching movies or something. I don't know where the hell we came up with our rules, but we had about, now that I'm thinking about it, at least half a dozen or more like rules of how we would play guns. And it would either be like how the weather was or what time of year it was or like who was over. It was usually we'd play guns when kids would come over to play or whatever, so that we'd have like somebody else to play with. That might be interesting. I wonder if anybody's ever done videos on how you play guns.
That would be a really interesting video. Really, the possibilities are endless. I mean, it's just your imagination, really.
Well, sometimes, depending on if like my cousins were over, we played guns different. And if I had like my friends over and my little cousins over, we had to play guns differently. It was always guns, but it was like, were we doing something like maybe we all go somewhere and shoot guns at something? Or I'm trying to remember now. I don't think we ever had like, we'd play horse, I think. We never really had like competitions, but we certainly would be like, trying to outshoot each other all the goddamn time. We'd be shooting apples off of trees or grab apples off of trees, kind of playing horse. But also, like nobody was the same. Like somebody could shoot better, so you're not going to shoot against that person. It would be more like, I bet you can't hit that, and you would just have it appropriate to the person you were betting.
Yep.
Smaller target for somebody who could do it, and a bigger target for somebody who couldn't.
A couple of my cousins and my uncle and I would do that. It got to the point where my cousins just stopped participating because my uncle and I were. I don't want to make it sound like top shots or anything like that, but we were far better than my cousins, and
all you gotta do is be better than the other person, and you might as well be in.
Yep. It got to the point where we were just doing stupid stuff. We're taking spent 22 casings and putting them up at 75 yards or something, and trying to shoot them with a 17 HMR. And then first off, just trying to find the 22 case, I think that was harder to do than trying to shoot it. Then it started turning into, you didn't actually hit that. That's just a scuff on it from hitting the ground, and it got ridiculous.
Lighting matches or putting out candles, hanging stuff from shoelaces, and then shooting it off. Shooting the shoelace. We did
that with a toaster once.
Huh?
I did that with a toaster once. Complete accident. We were out shooting, and we were shooting some stuff like that, and those got shot up pretty well. And I was like, oh, well, I've got an old toaster in the car that I was getting ready to throw away. And we're like, oh, well, let's go hang it. And I actually shot the cord of the toaster and had it fall on the ground. I ended up just pulling the shot and shot the cord, but I still like to say that I did it on purpose.
All about calling it. You just got to call it every time, and then when it happens on accident, you look like that.
Yeah.
We had a thing for scouts back in the day, and at the end of the week, like if you were out shooting at scout camp for like a week or whatever, at the end of the week, and then depending on what year it was, so sometimes when you get older, you go for longer. But at the end of each week, they would have like a day where you could bring like back in the day, it was like you bring your hat or your shirt, basically, sometimes your pants, and then you'd shoot them with like a shotgun or I guess a 22. If you've never done it before and you shot something with a 22, it's like, oh, amazing, I shot my pants with a 22. And then you can look at your pants and you're like, okay, there's no way to know that I did this. And then once you wash them, there's no way to know that it even ever happened until like 8 weeks later, I guess 8 washings later, maybe it starts to develop a hole. But, unless you shoot like something kind of up close with a shotgun, doesn't really affect it too much. But sometimes shooting like shoes or hats was interesting, and everybody wanted to shoot something. So everybody would end up shooting pants or something with their shirt with a 22. But that was when you'd gone a couple of years and you knew the deal and you figured out that shooting a pair of shoes with a 22 was only fun in theory, like it wasn't actually fun. We would do the same thing. Once you'd been there a couple of times, you'd be shooting shoelaces, and that was the real goal, was to see who could drop a shoe with the fewest amount of shots, not who could shoot your shoot. Because who the hell cares if you can shoot something bigger than any of the targets you were shooting all week, right?
Yeah, let's say. I actually, I've got a 22 revolver that, that's about 50 yards or so. I was shooting. Remember the box of 22 Remington Hornet or whatever they're called? Just that little rectangular box.
Okay.
I'm gonna say with that 22 revolver, I could shoot that box at almost 50 yards.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Like, take the box and use it as a target.
Yep.
Yeah. We had a place where they had a lake, or like the range was in a quarry, and a portion of the quarry still had water in it. And there was a bench there, and that's where a lot of times you'd park your kids. So you just park in front of this lake, and then you bring stuff into the lake and then shoot at it. And that was one of the things you'd shoot at because you'd be shooting with 22s. Once you got to the end of the box or whatever, you do the same thing. Put the box all back together and then wing it out there, and it would float for a while till you shot it. It would sink. Same thing with them plastic ones. If you weren't keeping them, you throw that yellow plastic kind out there, and it would float for a while. Otherwise, we'd shoot marshmallows and corn cobs. Like corn cobs, they'd have like just a big pile of corn cobs, and you can just throw out a whole bunch of them and shoot at them. It was basically like playing Battleship because you could see where your misses were, you know.
Yeah, that'd be pretty fun.
It was actually a billion. It was the funnest thing ever. Sitting there for forever because I had no interest in shooting. Every time my dad would bring out like black powder, I don't know what went through their heads, like because I wasn't paying attention. I was looking, but they would shoot maybe black powders or something boring or something that had too much recoil or something dumb. Sometimes I wanted to shoot whatever they were shooting, but most of the time we'd let them shoot whatever, and all the kids would go over and just shoot 22s because we had our own games and stuff. And,
Yep.
you know, like I said, I'm trying to now think about it because, yeah, we had some whole elaborate thing going on depending on who would go to the range. It would all depend on what range we were going to because there was more than one range. And then if we were going to that range, who was with you? Because if you, like, I would regularly go with my cousins, but then I would sometimes go with other people. And if you were going to occasionally shoot with somebody and do some kind of thing when you were there by yourself, you might want to practice so that you didn't suck next time you were shooting with somebody, right? So that all got pretty elaborate now that I'm thinking about it. And yeah, there was probably a lot more to it than I remember when I'm just, you know, vaguely thinking back to shoot when I was a kid.
One of the things I was just thinking about when you were mentioning shooting the corn cobs floating on the water, think about how much people are paying today for reaction targets. And when you were a kid, you were just doing it for fun with corn cobs.
Oh, yeah. No, we didn't have nothing. There was maybe like a piece of metal or something at the back of the lake for when you got bored or you didn't have nothing to throw out there, or you wanted to shoot further away. But nothing that moved, just maybe something that made a noise, something that would last, you know, so that was there for a while.
Well, I wasn't sure how many shots you could get on a corn cob before it sank.
Oh, yeah, that would depend. Well, first depends on the corn cob, you know, some dried out one or one it's waterlogged or something, it's about to sink anyway. But and then depends again if it's super dry, it'll just explode. That's a whole other thing. You know, shooting tiny marshmallow, it'll explode. It's just gone. But I'll bet you if you had a big enough marshmallow and something like you're saying, like 17 HMR, where it'll just whip right through it, I'll bet you could shoot a hole in a marshmallow and it would come back to the surface. You know what I mean? Like it wouldn't. 17 would destroy a marshmallow. It might. I don't know. But if it didn't, because I know that if we threw little marshmallows out there, you'd have to shoot it or shoot right near it. You basically destroy the marshmallow with the 22. The big marshmallow, I can't remember. I think you could, if we were good and we were shooting against like older people or people that were good, you could shoot corners off a marshmallow. You could shoot near a marshmallow and take a chunk off of it, kind of like hitting a clay, except unlike a clay where it hits the ground no matter what, you can get 2 shots out of a big marshmallow. Corn cobs, again, depending on the characteristics of it, blow it away completely with one shot, or break it in half, break those halves in half, nibble off of one end. I mean, with 22s, you can get pretty crazy. So corn cobs are pretty awesome. Boxes, like you're talking about, just putting together a box, a cardboard box. Usually they'd be so waterlogged the first time you hit them, they don't have any structure left. They would just sink. But sometimes they'd sit there for a while before they sank, kind of float in the water, which would give you a second shot at it if you were desperate for something to shoot at. Plastic ones would pretty much always just sink pretty quick once you hit them. We never threw peeps out there. I never thought about that, but that was real food. We'd only bring marshmallows. I don't think we even brought marshmallows. I think marshmallows would be there. And I'm guessing that like some ladies would donate their old stale marshmallows or something, because it seemed like those marshmallows were always gross. Nobody wanted to eat any of the marshmallows we were throwing out there. Let's put it that way. So I don't know if they came from some like seconds from a marshmallow factory. I don't think I ever questioned it. There was just always bags of gross marshmallows out there to throw out there. But the thing is, you need a place that's got a lake that's sacrificial. You'd have to, I don't know what they did. I think they probably had to do something occasionally to clean that lake out, because it probably had to be like a lead slurry. And that can't be good for nothing, because that's groundwater and everything. Like, that can't be good.
Yeah.
In real life, you wouldn't want to go to destroy a lake doing that, because that would be pretty gross to that lake and the groundwater and the critters. And I mean, that's definitely a lot of raw, gross lead. But I don't know. I don't know if they've got something like that at ranges. I mean, this was at a range, so there must be other ranges that have something like that. I've seen people that shoot into rivers. That's probably worse.
I say we got a swamp here that swallows everything. I say I'm sure people have done plenty of shooting into that. It's actually said that there's supposed to be an entire steam engine at the bottom of the swamp somewhere. Problem is, from everything I've ever been told and researched on it, they can't really find the bottom. The further they push in, it's just more mud and muck. They had to build a interstate over it back in, I want to say the 60s, and they ended up floating the interstate on giant pontoons, basically.
While it was muted there, somebody just bought something. Right on. Thank you very much. So, I don't know why HVS keeps putting out names out here. If he's trying to name your kid's gun shop, I'm sure it's going to have a kid's name, not whatever these names are, unless he's naming these names.
I say I can't see them, so
It's got like easy guns, and then like easy, like the word easy, and then he's got easy, like the two letters easy. And he's got gun Oasis and Paradise Guns. Like, he's just saying names of what could be gun
I
shops.
say one of the things I was thinking about, since she wants to run it like a gun shop, is if she's gonna have the neighbor kids coming over and buying guns with Monopoly money, I guess, was printing off a bunch of fake 4473s, but they'll just have like the 4 gun safety rules on it or something like that they've got to read and agree to, and then they can purchase their firearm.
That's pretty cool. Good idea.
Then I can get her to learn at an early age that everything in this world has paperwork now.
So, is this from like a TV show or from just going to gun shops, or they know you know somebody?
Um, Honestly, I myself, I just grew up around guns. So I've always had a natural love for them, which I think she has caught on to. But I try and take her to the gun shop when I go, things like that. She has a very natural curiosity about them. But like with all my kids, I start them on gun safety when they're about 3, which a lot of people have told me, oh, that's way too young. But I'm a firm believer that education is, what stops bad things from happening. And the younger that they are, yeah, and getting introduced to things, the less likely I am to have to worry about something happening. Because I'm not saying, for all I know, say I was working on a gun and I left it on a table real quick, walked away, and let's say they walked into my work area. Well, if they pick it up, I want them to know what's going on. So, like I said, from a young age, I started them on gun safety and how to check firearms, clear them, and all that, so on and so forth. But most of all, they know they're not supposed to touch it unless they're given permission. And I've tested it with them where I'll purposely leave something out and I'll be watching from around the corner or something and just watch what they do. And they listen. It's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much. I don't know if there was a thought put into it. There had to be, I guess. But and I think I can't remember whenever I was. I mean, I don't remember whatever. There's always been guns around. I've always known about them. But to me, they were just like the lawnmower or kitchen stuff. Like I knew about pots and pans because I had to wash dishes. Right? I knew about the lawnmower because I had to cut lawn all the damn time. And I knew about I don't know a number of other dangerous things like shovels or something because I had to dig holes. So I rarely ever wanted to play with them at all. So like I always had to clean guns when we got done from shooting. We had to reload, and so I just looked at them as things that were chores, for the most part. So,
Yep.
but on the other side of it, going to gun shops, I can definitely remember, definitely a nostalgia chat, but going to gun shops, and I'm guessing, it depends on the person. I guess if you're going to a gun shop to pick up something and then you leave, that's got to be pretty boring for a kid. But for me, the gun shops that I went to as a little kid were packed, floor to ceiling, with tons of stuff. And my dad was there. Like he was there for an hour or more each shop we would go to. So they knew me and boom, like I'd walk in and start looking at my stuff. And so, half the time he was peeling me like, okay, I'm leaving now. And like, are you going or am I leaving you here? And then, I'd go because we're going to another gun shop or something. But digging around at all the knives and all the stuff and learning about shit. And because you're there at least for me, because I was there all the time, they answer questions if I had them. I wasn't constantly bugging them, but, I was learning stuff and of course, listening to the various conversations that were happening. Yeah, I can definitely see a kid digging a gun shop. I mean, that's probably why I'm dig them so much. I really like going to gun shops when I was a little kid.
Yeah, now that you mentioned that, it made me think of one that my parents would always take my brother and I into. My dad had grown up with this kid, and his father owned the gun shop, so that's where my dad would prefer to go. But it made me think of something that I don't see happen anymore, and that's the gun owners interacting with, or the gun shop owners interacting with the children. Like when we went to Robbie's, he was always excited to see us come in. His wife, who was normally doing a lot of the paperwork stuff while he was, getting the guns for people that were behind the counter or something like that. She would, Rose would come out and, give us each a quarter or something and say, go get something out of the candy machine.
Yeah, I was just looking for whenever I went to oh, they don't have Arizona guns in here.
But yeah, she would, tell us go get something out of the candy machine, thing of bubble gum or something like that, and it made it a lot of fun to go in there. And I'm not saying anybody needs to, give my kids a quarter to go get something out of the gumball machine, but just the interaction with the owner. And in my area, I try to go to all the gun shops as much as I can, and whether it's just picking up a box of ammo or something like that, just to keep them going. And none of them really interact with the children.
A couple things. So first off, saying bye to Chris. Thanks for jumping in and grabbing stuff from the store. And a couple of things there. One is gun shops aren't focused on kids. So unless they're happen to have kids or be maybe sponsoring a kids shooting team or something, where they got kids coming in, or they have a lot of customers that got they got kids guns or something, then it just might not be their thing. If they're a whole bunch of CCW people or military people, police people, hunting people, whatever, just not used to dealing with kids or whatever.
Yeah.
They just might be out of their wheelhouse. But then most of the time, kids can't come in without parents. And then how often are you going in with your kid to be like, I mean, like most parents, I mean, I've worked at gun shops, so I know your parent comes in with a kid, it's either a baby kid and you're holding it or, it's on a tether somehow, but the kid's like a baby and it's just barely aware, or it's doesn't want to be there, right? And it's like a tension. As soon as the parent gets in there, it's like, I got to get in here quick where the kid loses attention span. I got to get out of here.
Okay.
It's like me, like when I was a kid, like I'm here, like I'm the parent, I'm here, you're here, go entertain yourself because you're here, period. Like deal with it. And
Yep.
So in other words, very rarely do people come in and go like, and there definitely were people that would be like, I'm here and my kid's here and I'm interested in this. And now I'm going to show my kid what I'm interested in. And my kid's part of this conversation. And you're telling me, you're telling both of us. I mean, it all applies to wives too. I mean, it's basically the same thing with, some people come in and they're there and some people come in and they come in as a group and they interact as a group. So anyway, I think it's something, there's more to it than, it's just maybe like a barber or a restaurant or something too. Like some of them are just more kid aware than others.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I don't know. I guess I'm just kind of thinking in my head, with things, kids that are more interested in things that have a screen and playing video games and stuff like that. Just acknowledging, say, hey, how's it going? But I completely understand what you're saying too, where some people, they're just not oriented that way to acknowledge that.
Well, the kids usually aren't the purchasers either. If they're coming in either getting stuff sticky or breaking something, barely, unless it's a birthday or something, they're not really the focus of the purchase.
Yep.
Like at a gun show, that's a whole different thing because usually that's individuals. So that's a whole gambit, and most people are aware of kids, and and most people at gun shows are happy to see kids at a gun show. So I've hardly ever seen people be kind of mean or rude to, the kids looking at stuff or asking questions or being amazed at all the weird stuff on the table. Usually people are the opposite. They're digging it when a kid comes over and their eyes get big and they appreciate the weird shit they got on the table or whatever.
Yeah, say gun shows, I've noticed that a lot more interaction there.
And that's probably, some of it too. If you get, I'm trying to think of like some of the shops in Sierra Vista down here, are just neat shops, but neat gun shops that you don't see too much of. Most of the gun shops are more clean and more focused on either CCW or ARs or hunting or whatever it is they're focused on. And they're kind of like, it's going to be less interesting to a kid. There's less stuff to look at. But you get one of these shops that's been around forever and they're general store more than focused on something. And when there's something for the kid to pay attention to and ask questions, and again, you got the opportunity for a gun shop owner to be like, hey, here's a kid that's actually interested in something that we're interested in.
Yep.
But on the other hand, too, if they don't have 22s, they don't have like kid size stuff there, then what's the point? Like kids looking at these guys were talking about what HK91s earlier. It's a kid might be interested in HK91 because they've seen it in a video game, but they can't even lift a 9-pound gun. So, it's some dream like a car or something when you're a little kid. It's just something that one day you'll be big enough to be able to deal with. But a Cricket or Ruger 1022s or these Chargers with braces and stuff. Now you start talking about stuff a kid can deal with. Make it show up.
Back when I was younger, I worked at a local sporting goods store for a year, and I'd have people come in and ask about, what do you think about this gun for a first gun for a kid or this or that? And I always ask them, one, how old is your child? If they're 13 or 14, then, a full-size rifle, that'll be fine. And I was like, but, if they're 8 or 9, then you're going to want something with a smaller stock. And what I started doing was I'd start pushing like the M&P 1522s. And the big thing I'd try and sell people on was just the collapsible stock. That way the gun can grow with the kid, because a lot of times you go and you purchase youth firearm, and at least in my area, it doesn't seem like there's a good resale value on them. So then you're either stuck with it, hoping that a grandchild ends up using it, or you just take a big loss when you go to get rid of it. But so I'd make the argument, you get something, like this 1522 that has a collapsible stock. So as the child grows, you can pull the stock out a little bit further. You got more options. Then the best thing is when they become a teenager and things like that, you're like, what in the world do I get them? You can get them stuff for the gun still. I was like, you can get them reflex sights, flashlights, forward grips, all kinds of stuff. And I ended up selling a lot of guns that way.
Oh, that makes sense. There's something too, though. I think now you talk about like a Cricket. Yeah, you're right. Like that's a small gun, and it's it's $100 gun. So it's less of a big investment to buy something like that. That's specific for a small frame person. But when you start talking like the old Remingtons and Winchesters and things that were way older, like what our grandparents would have had when they were little kids, and then handed down to our parents and us, and then to little kids. Those guns are going to last forever. Like they're way.
Yeah.
So something like that, I would say, if you had that in the family, or you grabbed one of them, because they're not that expensive, a couple $100 at the most, for a decent one, a shootable one. You brought one of them into a family and started handing that thing down. That's the kind of thing that a kid can reblue it or refinish the stock or do something to the stock, and then the next generation does something to the stock, or brothers give it to the sister, that kind of thing, or the cousins give it back and forth. Like that I could see that being a thing. But
Yep.
But I hear you that for practicality or whatever, there's nothing wrong with what you just said there. The only thing is, it's different. I don't know. It's everybody's different. If you got brothers and stuff, it's different. If you got siblings, I should say, because sisters, the same thing. But and then depending on how many kids you've got to hand stuff down to or whatever, the thing about having something practical like an AR that, and I guess 22 one would, I would probably disagree only that I'd get the kid a 223 and then put a 22 in it, right? Make it hobble it down to 22 if they're little.
I would try that, but the amount of resistance I was met with from people, just because it's one of those black guns. I'm like, and so I pull out a Ruger Mini 14 and say, well, which one's deadlier? And they're like, oh, that one. Like, they both fire the same round. I was like,
but aside from that, then just the idea of having a gun that is expandable and useful while they're teenagers and older, because you can still use it. Smith and Wesson AR in 22 caliber forever. I mean, it's always going to be a useful gun. So that's what I'm saying is when you give somebody that as their first gun, it just always becomes a practical tool, and then it's just kind of incorporated into their stuff. Where I just know from experience of having a little gun, a little kid gun, it kind of becomes a separate thing, like because it is pointless after a time. And for a little while, as a teenager, you don't care at all about it. That's just the normal thing. You don't care about your baby stuff until you have a baby, and then all of a sudden your baby stuff is sentimental. And now you're handing it. So that's what I'm saying, is that having something too practical is like, here's my practical thing that I'm handing down. That's just a little less cool or whatever, traditional, I guess, than having the old single shot 22 or whatever. Or because you got to think, we're not even thinking about 20 or shotguns. A whole bunch of people start off on shotguns and hand a single shot shotgun down year after year for their first hunting gun, your first gun.
Yep. I say they kick like a mule. But yeah, like I said, I'd always suggest the 1522s because I was at least able to talk people into the whole fact that, well, it's not the same round. You know, this is a 22, not 223. If they're that worried about it, but yeah, because a lot of people, you know, they were looking at the crickets, and I'm like, well, you know, that's fine and dandy. Is like, but do you plan on passing it down, or are you planning on getting rid of it in a few years when the kid grows out of it? And it seemed like the answer I got all the time was that just something that the kid could start learning to shoot with, and in a couple of years they're going to get rid of it and get something different.
See, Bob's out there, and then I made a saying we used to love going to the military surplus shops, the belts and the ammo and the canteen pouches and stuff. Yeah, for sure. And I think when I'm thinking of some of those gun shops, some people could almost call them surplus stores. Definitely had a lot of surplus stuff in those gun shops. And that stuff would change. You know, I don't have any idea how that stuff, I imagine it's sort of like today. Maybe somebody brought in a Foot Locker full of stuff, or maybe a shop went out of business or something. But every once in a while, you know, there'd be just a slew of new stuff at these shops, and it'd take you forever to go through them. I don't know what they're going back and forth out there with Bob. So we still have one more giveaway here, or one more thing to hand out. I don't know what to call it that I don't get in trouble for it, but it's not a raffle. It's just stuff I'm giving out to my Patreons. Anyway, the last one is that Maxpedition thing. And we got a 3-way. So I got to figure out how to do that. I guess I'll do it to 99 again. The first 33 will be Centurion. The second 33 will be Trucker. And then the third 33 will be Smeggy. So it'll fall somewhere between 1 and 99. And depending on which 33 it'll be one of these three guys. Boom. So 52 means it goes to the middle, right? Because it would have been 66. Yeah. So Trucker, he's out there right now. And Trucker just bought a ton of crap off of the store. So that worked out pretty good. So thank you very much for that. And now you're going to get that Maxpedition pack with it as well. Very cool. Yeah, thank you very much. New World suck balls. What's Bob talking about? 9mm? Well, if we had some sort of good production, that's where like applause would go in. I watched the thing about the applause box. It was interesting. There's some YouTube video got shoved at me. Like the laugh track or whatever. You ever heard about that thing or seen anything about that? There's a YouTube video, I think it was about 15 minutes long, and they talk about the first TV show ever and where all the audiences were recorded, like all the laughs and stuff were recorded. All that happened at one time. And then I think that might have been in the 50s or something. And since then, all the laughs you hear ever have been out of that one guy's machine. and he just gets paid to go to a show and sit there with the production people and push the buttons. And they literally, every one of those people laughing is a separate person's different kind of laugh. And they got this big thing, looks like an accordion. They just push a bunch of buttons on there and it pulls a bunch of tape reels up and it plays all those laughs. And then they talked about how that was invented, how the guy ran that system, and then when shows stopped using it. And like now there's only like a couple of shows that ever even use it. There's very few of them. Pretty interesting though. Let's see. I don't know if I'm missing chats or something. You guys can see what I'm seeing here. It makes no sense at all. Like HVS has just been saying random shit all night. I guess they're gun shop names. And then Bob's been saying all kinds of weird stuff. So I don't know if they're talking to each other or if I'm seeing the stuff out of order. But Justin's saying, will you be getting the Orange PVC hazmat packages back in? So probably not, only because those things took forever to sell. And those things cost like $300, $400 every time you buy one. You got to buy a certain amount to make them worthwhile to sell them. You know, I could buy 10 of them and they'd cost me $15 a piece or something, right? So that wouldn't be worthwhile. Nobody's going to pay $20 for a tiny patch. So to get them to where you can sell them for $7 and then stay in business, like keep your things going, you got to buy hundreds of them things, and it just takes forever for them. So probably not. I'm hoping that if I can ever get to where I have a minute to go out and play with the robot again. I don't know if he's out here, but Erstwhile sent me a bunch of new bits basically for the robot. And what I'd been using was a 1/4 inch and an 1/8 inch. And now I have something that's more like a needle. So if I can get that thing out there and whittle into, I'm thinking aluminum, then give me a minute to fiddle around with some different rubbers and we'll see what I can make. But that's all a bunch of hypotheticals. So until something changes and I can get my own patch of the month club going, I mean, I would like to do you're talking about the 1.4C hazmat placard. I thought that was one of the coolest patches ever. We did that one in regular sewn, and then we did it in PVC. I can sew that one on the machine here. So I can make those. No one's ever said anything about it. So I could make a couple and put them, you know, ones that I make here in Tucson, and put those up on the store. They won't be PVC, of course. But yeah, eventually I would like to be able to try to do something in PVC. And that would be a good one to start with, because it's just two simple colors. Oh, Bob is saying it's all mixed up. Yeah, sometimes people will say something. I'll respond to it, like click on the thing on here, and then all of a sudden there's two other ones. Two other ones show up in front of it. Well, there was some shows that were live audiences, and then I guess they quit doing that. They talk about how the shows went from one camera to multi-cameras. And it was one camera in front of an audience, and then multi-cameras in front of an audience, and then multi-cameras with the laugh track and no audiences. And it was a neat little presentation of the whole thing too, because when it talks about like cheers, and I don't think they talked about Happy Days, but they definitely talked about a couple of different shows that were like the ones that started a new direction. That was interesting to kind of put it all together. You don't really pay attention to it. And you've seen the videos probably like Friends or those kind of shows when they take the laugh track out. It's really weird because they would pause all the time. They would say something and then pause. So it's really awkward listening to it without the laughing. But because they were using the laugh tracks, they knew to pause for like a certain amount every single time. Like they could, you know, it was like a dance or something. It wasn't random like a real audience, right? Because a live audience, I guess, would laugh into 3 jokes. And they couldn't tell 3 jokes from each other because it was just one thing of laughing. Okay, so anyway, that was a whole bunch about that. There's a bunch of patches I never got a chance to buy. Really? I guess from my angle, I don't know. I can't. I guess there's been a bunch of designs that have come and gone. I guess, but I don't know. I can think of a couple that sold out real quick, but most of them, when they take a long, long time, it's real tough to decide to buy another batch of them. Yeah, so I don't know what these guys are talking about. Well, with that, I think we probably chatted it out tonight. We got a couple of things accomplished. I want to thank again all the people that purchased stuff at the Gear website store. Obviously, with all the stuff going on, it's very much appreciated, and happy to be able to send some stuff out to the people from Patreon. And that couldn't, again, I wouldn't be able to do any of this stuff without Patreon. So I went through my flashlights yesterday, and I only have shitty flashlights. So I do have a couple of Magpul a couple of Surefire ones. Whenever I go through again, I'll see I'm going to sort of like load up some kits. Once I've got everything loaded up, if there's extra ones, they'll be going on eBay. If people on Patreon want them, you're welcome to them, but they're old bulbs. They're not LEDs or anything. So it's like pass the trash. It's not, unless you got some need for an old fashioned bulb or something. I can't imagine anybody would want them. I don't know if anybody will even buy them on eBay, but that's about the only thing I had in my flashlights. But I'm about to dig into the knives, and I'm going to do pretty much what I did this week with the knives going forward. And then I've got a bunch of other packs that I could probably do a whole other week of just packs and stuff like that. So anyway, hopefully that was fun for everybody. And again, thanks for participation in the chats, in the daily show like this one, and in the comments on the videos and whatnot that we do out there. I don't know if Barbecue, if you want to say anything else before we head out.
No, I've got nothing. Thanks for the Patreon link again.
And yeah, I should mention that you jumped in and why am I drawing a blank on his name? Let me go back over to the private side. Falling Hammer, thank you. Falling Hammer jumped in earlier. Both of you came in through the Patreon link, so thanks for jumping in, because otherwise it would have been a very short show. I don't like just sitting here blabbing. Different kind of knives. The kind of knives you can shoot with a 22 and they don't get bad. And yeah, so I didn't send Bob a link because I didn't know he sent out a link to like 6 or 8 people tonight. Threw it on Patreon. But with that, we will be back on Monday. If we're not back sometime during the weekend, wouldn't be surprised if I jump on during the weekend. Otherwise, be back later.